God damn, this demon of hatred, man, he's so hard to kill. He's been kicking my ass, and I don't even know how many times I've tried to kill him so far. It's almost as if he was made to be difficult. Let's rant about that. What is going on, guys? Dark Gaming here. And if you don't know what Let's Rant is, it's basically when I sit down and talk with you guys about certain things that I want to talk about. Usually game aspects. And this time we're talking about difficulty in video games. And we got the perfect game for the background gameplay. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which is a Souls game. It was even made by the same company that made the Dark Souls series. And what you're currently watching is me defeating the Demon of Hatred on my second playthrough. Just figured I'd put that out there because it might be important later on. So, why is it that most people consider the difficult game not fun? Like, you know, there's that misconception that difficulty equals not fun. But that's not really the case. Like, I'm gonna be honest, even me, before I had Sekiro, I thought that a difficult game was not gonna be fun. And by that I mean, like, I didn't want any of the Souls type games because I thought that they'd innately be difficult for me to play, and by that I mean that they wouldn't be fun to play. But then I had Sekiro and my concept actually changed on what is and isn't fun for a game. Of course, difficulty not making a game fun is very specific to each individual. For me, I thought that Sekiro was a very enjoyable game, and it was very fun to play. Some people might have thought that Sekiro wasn't actually that entertaining. If they played it and maybe they thought, you know, this game is not for me, and so they just tossed it aside. It's really difficult to answer this question of, you know, this game's not fun because it's difficult. Because difficulty is specific to every individual. Like, I found Sekiro to be very entertaining and not that difficult. Some might have found it entertaining, but it was difficult. And some might have just found it outright boring because it was not difficult at all. You know, it's very person specific. So, what is it that makes a game that is difficult fun? That is much easier to answer. And the reason is, well, achievement, accomplishment. If you don't understand exactly what I'm trying to say, think of it this way. You have a very, very tall mountain, and your purpose is to climb to the summit. You want to get to the top of the mountain. But the further up you go, the less oxygen, so it makes it harder, and the further up you go, the higher the difficulty gets. You know, it's not just one linear line, it continuously grows in difficulty the further up you go. That's exactly what difficulty is. You know, the higher up it goes, the higher the difficulty, but not in a linear fashion. And when you get to the top, it feels good because you've accomplished, you've achieved your goal. You wanted to get to the top and you got there. You didn't go up to a certain point and say, yeah, this is fine, I can't go further, I'm just gonna stay here. You know, you didn't quit along the way. And that's what makes a difficult game fun. When you finally overcome the difficulty in that game, it feels good because you've done something that others might not be able to. And now you know how to do it. So those people that want to do it but can't do it, you could help them do it. And, you know, it goes hand in hand. Difficulty is gonna be fun as long as you can defeat it. So what makes a game difficult? You know, we've been talking about difficulty, but what is it that makes a game difficult in the first place? It depends on the game genre, really. Like, in the case you have AI enemies, it's how hard those AI enemies hit and how complex their AI is. Like, if you've got a bot that is super hard hitting and one shot from that bot is going to kill you. Like, if you get hit by that bot once, you're done. But his AI is so stupid that you could predict it really easily and therefore defeat it. You know, it balances things out. In the case of Sekiro, that would be wind up the complexity for the AI. Sure, you have hard-hitting attacks and you have less hard-hitting attacks. In both cases, there's a complexity. And in the case of soft attacks, they're much harder to dodge because they don't do as much damage. In the case of hard-hitting attacks, they have a very long wind-up that allows you to dodge them easily. And that's what also allows people to, well, not people, developers in specific, to set a difficulty and let you choose. You know, if this game feels really easy to you or it feels really difficult, just swap out the difficulty for something easier, something harder. But there's cases that they don't allow you to do that in, say, ergo, like Sekiro or any other Souls game. It doesn't allow you to select your difficulty. But that doesn't mean that the difficulty is set in stone. Like Demon of Hatred, when I played him on my first playthrough, he was really difficult. And that was because I didn't know his patterns, I didn't know his wind-ups, and I didn't know anything about this boss. So until I figure that out, I'm just gonna be continuously dying while trying to defeat this boss. But eventually you'll figure out all of the moves that this boss can do, and you'll figure out when to strike and how to strike. And that's exactly why you can defeat a difficulty in a video game, even if it is considered by majority a difficult game. Because the further you, not the further, the more you play it, the easier it gets because the better you understand it. So that's of course a given for a game like Sekiro or a game that has AI enemies. What about a puzzle game? You know, a puzzle game doesn't exactly have anyone you're up against, so you can't say that the difficulty in that game is the AI in it. In comparison, a puzzle game, I'd say the difficulty is in the complexity of the puzzle. Like, if you've got a very difficult puzzle, it means that it's very complex. You know, it takes a lot of thought for you to process like the moves that you can do and how the game's going to develop from that point on. That's why turn-based games are also in some cases difficult, but sometimes they're really easy, because if you do the right combination, then you've got a game that you will generally enjoy. You know, say like chess. Of course, you've got an enemy in a chess game, but he's a human, which means he's not an AI, he's not programmed to do certain things, he's got the same freedom of movement that you do. But if you calculate the moves accordingly, you might defeat the enemy player because the complexity for you was far easier than it was for him. And it goes again in the same concept that I said for Sekiro. The more you play, the easier something's gonna get because the more accustomed you've become to it. That's why most professionals, quote unquote, or veterans are people that have been playing for a very long time. And that's what makes and breaks a difficulty in a game. You know, if there isn't an easy learning curve, then the game's really broken and you're not gonna enjoy it because it's hard to understand the difficulty. And in the opposite case, if it's really easy from the get-go, some people will also find that not fun because there's no achievement. Everything's so easy, it's almost like it's been given to you. You know, there's nothing that you can really do. It's just there, you just do it. Some people might find that fun, some won't. And the same concept that if it's way too difficult to learn, it might also not be fun. So there's always that middle that you need to strike. It needs to be fun in a way that you're gonna have fun learning it as well as playing it. Anyway guys, that's all I have for you. I want to thank you for watching. Please leave a like if you like this video, and I'll see you in the next video.